Hi, this is Jillian, and this is a speed paint of the Magnificent Maiden and her quote-unquote sidekick, the Fire Knight. I don't want to get too deep into it because I don't want to give away story details, but basically he's her answer to Sailor Moon's Tuxedo Mask. That's as close as I'm gonna come to telling y'all about the story, particularly in this early stages of development of the comic. I'm trying to get to the point where I can draw on it some more, but my heart just, I don't know, with everything in my life right now, it's just hard. And it's not that I don't want to, it's just when you get depressed, you do good to work on something. And the Magnificent Maiden to me is something very near and dear to my heart that I don't want to rush or go in with a broken heart. And right now I just can't. And I'm hoping to get over it. I'm gonna have to, you know? I feel like the Magnificent Maiden, I owe it to her and my other characters to continue their story, and I want to continue their story. I've had Tafia, the Magnificent Maiden, in my head since I was 14 years old, and I feel like she's a good character, and I'm trying my best to develop her in a sensible manner that she's not like a Mary Sue or anything like that. She has her flaws and she has her moments of weakness. And it's not that she's, this stereotypical clumsy girl. Yes, she has her clumsy moments, but she dusts herself off and tries again. Like, I want her to be the type of superhero that says stuff like, why do superheroes, like superhero women, wear high heels in their comics? Wouldn't they sink in mud? Unless they can fly, and even then, if they're standing on the ground, in the mud, they would sink. Like, I think she would think things logically and in her own way. And her powers have limits, her magic has limits, and I think that's important. And the same thing can be said about the Fire Knight. Like, they both are magical, but I picture the Fire Knight being more of the physical aspect. Like, he can strong arm an enemy, whereas the Magnificent Ming can outsmart an enemy and use her magic to get the upper hand. And like certain magics she can use, whereas the knight, he doesn't really have the capability to do them, or at least as well. Like the blessing spell, only she really knows it. He hasn't learned it. He's more capable of fire magic and that sort of thing, and sword play, he's more capable of that. And she's more capable of like the elemental stuff and overall planning type stuff. And I don't know, I wanted a magical girl series where yes, she is the main character, but the guy character is not necessarily just her sidekick. He's her friend. He's her equal partner. Like, she'll ask for advice from him and vice versa when they get together in terms of fighting crime together. But that's a long way from now. And I might do some character sheets or something like that. I think that might help me get back into the mood of it. Because every time, like, I watch a superhero show or whatever, I'm like, oh yeah, I need to work on Emma. Which is, like, my nickname for the Magnificent Maiden. She has, like, way too many nicknames right now. That's, like, one thing that I need to not, like, mention it necessarily in the comics. But, like I said, she's been living in my head for 14 years. I'm allowed to give her as many nicknames as I want in my own head. That doesn't mean that she necessarily is called that in the comics or whatever. I think realistically I want her to maybe have like 3 nicknames. One being Tall, short for Tafia, which is her everyday self. The Magnificent Maiden can be called the Magnificent Maiden or Maiden. And I might have like one other, like the stars calling her the Star Maiden, or that being like her nickname for like the Fire Knight to call her the Star Maiden. The other nickname that I thought about giving her was Emma, and the only reason, because her initials for the superhero character is MM, and I thought that was like clever. Emma. I don't know. I thought it was clever at any rate. And I just feel like the stars would figure out who she is, whether or not, like, even like her main bad guy, the Black Hole. Like, it's not that the stars are all knowing or anything, but they're basically like angels. And I think they would talk and rumors would get around, and she does bless, and there might come a time where, like, in order to protect themselves, they seek her out in order to get that blessing. And I think it would be noticeable. Not that normal people would necessarily notice a bunch of stars showing up, because I don't want them being able to be detected. Like, I suppose that technological whatevers could be developed to detect magic, but, like, I don't want, like, Batman, if she was able to go into the DC universe, to be able to figure out. I know he's, like, the greatest detective on Earth or whatever, but she's made it to the point of which she could throw off suspicions of her, and then she has, like, magical capabilities, like, mystery, that even, like, Sherlock Holmes would be thrown off the trail. And she does stuff like writing with different hands as herself and the Magnificent Maiden. And because she's technically speaking ambidextrous, so she writes with her left hand as the Magnificent Maiden and her right as Tafia. And, like, she'll wear pierced earrings as the Magnificent Maiden, but non-pierced as Tafia. Like, I don't know, I want to be clever about it. Anyway, have a nice one. Subscribe. Do all the YouTube junk. Have a nice one.